Where the Force leads, I will follow.
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 Where I lead, they will follow.
Hey, y'all, and welcome back to Tales from the Table Studios. You may notice things are just a little bit less busy on screen today, but don't worry, we'll get there. For now, why don't we take a moment just to remind everyone, I guess it's just you and me for now, X. So why don't you go first? Tell everyone who you are, where they can find you, and all that exciting stuff.
Hey everybody, I'm Extell, aka at Extrill the King. I can speak. It's a great time. Don't worry about it. Let's see. You can find me at Extrill the King on all the socials. Start playing with games there and all that. And well, I'm just excited to get into this. I'm playing Ronin Nil today, or actually, sorry, scratch that. I'm playing Darth Bellator today. Pronouns he, him for both of us, and I can't wait. Yeah, I'm excited.
Wonderful. And hey, y'all, it's Drake Lionheart. Most people call me Lion. I am the creative director, and I'm the studio director. I have to do that, I get yelled at. I'm the studio director for Tales from the Table Studios. You can find me at it's Drake Lionheart on almost all the socials except on X, where I'm still the Lion Knight 42, but you won't really see much from me there except for automated posts because it's a cesspool. I just realized I called it X and I feel gross about it. Twitter, but either way, it's gross. It's a cesspool and I hate it, and so you'll find me mostly on Blue Sky now. You can also find me at TTFT Studios on most socials, but not just me because other people do stuff on that account and we love them for it. And here at Tales from the Table Studios, if you enjoy what you see here, want to see more of it, want to check out the cool stuff that X or anyone else in any of our casts are involved in, come say hi and hang out. You can do that because we have a Discord. If you come check out our Discord, you can jump in, say hi to everyone. We have a wonderful page that has all of the stuff our cast is doing up so that you can go check it out, go follow them, support them in all of their endeavors because they're all absolutely amazing. So, with that, I don't want to waste too much time, so I think we should get to it. When we last left off, I believe, Darth Bellator, you and your companion had found your way here to this place, thanks to some support from two cranky old, very long since dead men. Now, I do want to clarify very quickly. You now have possession of the guide, correct?
Yes, I do. He is on my side now, and hopefully he doesn't yap up too much.
So, when you arrived, you found yourselves descending into some kind of chamber beneath what seemed to be an ancient pile of rubble and wreckage. Beneath it was a hallway that led to an open chamber, or not open, but a large chamber filled with these different statues. All of which, except for one, depicted what you know to be Darth Bane. The last one, his apprentice, Darzana. Shortly after, you heard footsteps and saw what looked like a glimpse of someone with curled blonde hair and a black robe running off down one of the hallways. And as you began to take steps towards it, the rock above you cracked, crumbled, and began to fall. Both you and your ally took the time to try and hold or remove as much of the rubble as possible before it collapsed on you, which certainly did play a role in ensuring your survival, although it also ensured your separation. And here, now, you find yourself crouched to the ground with a fairly large piece of rock pressing against your back. You're not pinned in place, but you know full well that you're going to need to take action to get yourself out of it. There's very little room for you to breathe. It's dark here. Your lungs fill with the dust that's been kicked up from this collapse. And for a moment you hear what sounds like a lightsaber ignition, and then it sputters out, which is a sound you've heard before, but usually, usually you have a hand in that. What do you do?
So I'm trapped underneath some rocks, but they're not like crushing me
They're
yet.
not crushing you. You're not able to stand, but you're not pinned.
I think Ronin being Ronin, this is the way he would do it. I would calm myself as much as I can. Not take too deep of a breath, but take a breath, because there's a bunch of dust in the air. And then I'll reach out with the force, and I'll try to move this boulder or rock that's over me to try to get out.
Excellent. Okay. What points do you have in the move tree right now?
I have a lot.
Yeah, that's good. That's what I want to hear.
It's the one that I have the most in. I have nine upgrades in this.
My goodness.
I guess 8 upgrades. One plus the basic power.
Sure. Yeah.
So I have the first magnitude increase, 2 strength increases, 2 range. I have hurl, pull, and also manipulate.
Excellent. Okay. We love to see it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to roll me your force ratings worth of force die.
Lovely.
What do we got?
A 2 light and a dark.
Ooh, okay. Well, lucky for you, you can use any of those.
Yeah.
I will tell you that you will need at least 3 because you will have to be spending on the strength, the magnitude, and the basic power.
I use all of them.
Wonderful. So here's what's going to happen next.
The dark first, and then
Absolutely.
well, actually, one. Yeah, so we'll do
Ooh.
1 light, then a dark, and then a light.
Okay, then I would like you to tell me how you reach out to the light side of the force at the beginning of this. Describe for me what that feels like.
I think it feels warm. I think another memory of Ronin with his family again surfaces. The thoughts of his mother and father, serving dinner at the table, him sitting there waiting patiently for them to get it ready because he's, just a kid at the time, and he's excited to eat finally. Yeah. And again, it's just one of those nice moments.
I love that. So now I have another question. So as you're reaching out into the force and you feel that moment of excitedness and warmth and peace, you feel something else too. I don't think it's something you've ever felt before. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, Valden, could you tell me what it is that Bellator feels in the Force when he reaches out?
Oh. I would say a moment of shock and confusion, followed by a sense of serenity.
Love that. Ronin, Bellator. This is probably the most peace you felt in a while, maybe ever? It's different from the confident strength that you usually lean on, that you usually revel in. It's serene and calm and cool. And I think that as it sort of settles on you, it almost feels suffocating? Stifling, that's the word. It feels stifling. Like someone throwing a blanket over a flame. And I think that's part of what pushes you to grasping the dark side the way that you are so much more comfortable with, so much more used to. And as you do, you reach out and you feel the force almost like tendrils wrapping around these rocks, this rubble. Waycash, what is something that Bellator feels in the dark side that they weren't expecting to?
I think it's something that Bellator's touched before, but it's lonely and deep and isolating.
I love that. And how does that make you feel, Bellator?
Annoyed. Angry. These are feelings that I'm used to living in. So it feels nice.
And as those feelings settle in, you begin to feel the blanket of serenity try and fall over them again. And I think in that moment, you lash out. The stones, the rubble, all of it almost exploding in every direction. Bits of rock and rusted, broken metal shrapnel flying about. And for a moment, it sort of lingers in the air around you and two other unfamiliar figures. Ronin, why don't you tell these two what they see, who they see?
I'm gonna pull up my description of Ronin again because it's been a while since I've thought about how he would. Let's see here. Here we are. So he stands about 6 foot tall. As he stands, he's got on these all black armored robes. They look exactly how they do in the in the book if you've seen them in the book. Just the chest plate and the armor all over the outside of essentially Jedi robes. Um, he's got on the armor itself is more silver, while the cloak is black. Um, he's got uh, scarlet skin with white lines and markings that um, go all throughout his body. Although you can just see it on his head right now because it's the only skin he's really showing. He's a Togruta, so he has the montrails that sit on his head like horns. They curve toward each other. Um, sorry, not the montrails, but the montrals. I think is how you say them. But then he's got the head tails too that sit in front that go almost to his waist, and then one in the back that is similar almost to his waist, and they are white with purple stripes. He looks to be, I mean, you can't really tell with the armor, but he's muscular but not bulky. He's got more of an athletic build, more of like more people would say a sleeper build, probably. um, and he stands there with he's got these like sort of like almost purpley eyes, but not quite. Um, they're on the darker side, so they could be mistaken for another darker color. But they're sort of like a really deep purple.
And Wei, why don't we start with you? Why don't you tell us what Bellator sees?
So the first thing you notice is the white and gold of Jedi Sentinel robes. So the armored, very like all the movies, guard the temple kind of style. Um, he leans down on a sort of deep brown, gnarled wooden staff, um, or cane. Um, Stands about 6'1". He is, I think the word I've used to describe him is tall and lithe. He is Keldor. You see the flaps on the back of the head, but what's most prevalent about him is a canid looking mask that would be the Keldor breathing mask. It folds over his eyes and wraps around the two sensory organs running down to his mouth, where it has a squid like visage that wraps out with different pipes, essentially, so that he can exhale. Um, Other than that, he is pretty standard for a Keldor. Can't see his eyes, don't know what the face looks like.
And Valden, Master Vaseska.
Walden is a tall feline, so he's got greenish skin and almost sort of reptilian appearance. Hair pulled up into a black top knot. And he is wearing blue, kind of bluish Jedi robes, dark, kind of dark blue colors. Um, he's also fairly wiry. Um, a and he has a look that is a mixture of concern, curiosity, and confidence.
And I think in this moment, there is this bare second where time feels like it stops as the three of you meet each other's gaze. Bellator, having risen, I assume, um, arms out, all of these chunks of stone and metal just surrounding the three of you, halted, hovering in the air. And in that moment, there is recognition. First confusion, then understanding. And I guess my question is, who makes the first move from here? And I think what we'll do, unless there is a consensus, is I think we'll roll initiative. I don't think we're going to drop into combat unless y'all want to immediately. But I think we roll initiative to see who's going to be the first to react here.
Okay.
We're going to say it's vigilance.
Oh,
I think this is unexpected. I think it's fair to say this is unexpected.
Yeah.
double checks
Sure.
Do you have an I always go first ability?
it.
I know
I
some
wish.
games have that.
I thought about it for a bit, but not quite. But I do have I don't know if this counts for initiative, but I do have uncanny reactions, which I add a boost die per rank of uncanny reactions for all vigilance checks.
Ooh, I do believe that does work here. Yes, I will double check real quick. But I do believe, yes, yeah. So you absolutely can add a boost die to this.
I would love to have an always go first. Gosh,
How
that'd
much?
be amazing.
How much darkness is here? I got dark vision, which is a weird thing to be pulling in Star Wars.
So it is fairly dark here. I think that it's dark enough that everyone would be taking one setback die.
Except for me. It's like a dark vision.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you can avoid the setback
Jesus.
die. Ronin and Valden, I'll need you both to roll with setback die. Valden, I see you've
here.
already rolled. If you can just add the setback,
Yeah,
but just roll the setback die separate.
Oh, wait a
Yeah,
second.
let me just check.
Mm-hmm.
Also checking if I have dark vision.
Oh yeah, yep.
It was
100%.
weirdly specific. It was like a big thing in my character species, and I was like,
By the way,
I was like, yeah,
I can see
just
in
so
the
you
dark.
know, you might not be able to see your eyes, but you can see in the dark.
Love that.
I think I
Yeah, a
have.
great time.
Yeah, so. So.
3 success for Valden then.
Okay, I don't know.
Yes.
I'm gonna make an argument for this because I feel like I should. But it says Tigrutas have the ability to detect space ultrasonically.
There was a loud noise a second ago, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, I think I'm
Throw
gonna
up
say-
another difficulty die. Your ears hurt a bunch.
Backfired on me.
I'm satisfied with my roll.
Oh wow.
Setting back. All right, yeah, cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, no, it's a wonderful time. And everything's great. Don't worry about it. We're all good here.
Okay, so I do believe then, with Valden, with your one failure canceling one of your successes, Way, I think you are the first one here who's going to get to do anything. Again, it doesn't have to be combat, but whatever is about to happen to break this moment, it's on you.
I'm going to lean into my cane a little bit, looking at this figure and just looking up and down, kind of knowing that this might be who we were apparently sent for. And all I'll say is, well, what did you do to piss off Frieda and Nat?
Sidebar, real quick. I should also note, because I'm remembering now a message I got from Lion on his, because if his arms are stretched out for a little bit, on his waist, you would see put there a mask. But
Is it a mask I recognize? That's the question.
No.
Okay. Then
You would
doesn't matter.
You would be able to recognize at least that it is of like Mandalorian make. It's
Mhm.
that very classic Mando T-bar.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I don't think it stands out to you.
I don't think I really have. I know that Mandalorians aren't super fans of Jedi, but as far as I know, Ronin's a grave robber. Like, there's too many variables to throw into that yet.
It's true.
So my statement still stands.
I think he just looks at you for a second, like up and down, and then raises an eyebrow and says, "Killed him."
Again, that's impressive. I told him he couldn't even reach Padawan. Or Jedi Knight.
Yeah, he is pretty weak.
My name's Wakesh. I'm a temple guard with the Jedi Order. This here is one of the masters, and I gesture to Veldin.
Kind of nod.
I was hoping you would introduce yourself. I just gotta like whisper that.
He kind of gives a wary look and says, I am Veldin Vaseska.
Who might we be speaking to?
Let me guess. And he sort of like leans against one of the rocks. You, and he points to Waycash, you are the bright one. And you points to Veldin, one of the other ones probably. You can call me Bellator.
I like to
What-
think I'm bright, but there's a lot of connotations for that word.
Yeah, potato.
And what brings you to this place?
I know that I'd take a nice vacation to somewhere dark, damp, and cold. You?
Well, we were told to kill you by a ghost, and I don't plan on following instructions.
When you said kill you, a smile crept up on your Bellator's face, and then when you said we probably won't do that, it goes away. Oh, okay. Well, tell me then, what do you plan to do now that you're here?
Well, at the moment, I plan on figuring out why this, and he gestures to the rock, happened.
Yeah, probably someone's pissed off, as they usually are.
It's a fairly precise maneuver. You should have a partner. My guess is that they're also cut off at the moment.
So, we're trapped here. Probably. Probably should figure out a way out.
You have a saber, don't you?
Do you?
He just leans into the cane. Not at the present.
I pull out my sword. Also not at the present.
I think there's a puff of steam as Wei sees it, and no, not here, not yet, because I was gonna use seek, but then I was like, Wei's not stupid. He knows this guy has something else. Like, he's like, yeah, that's a big bonk you sword, but like, he's not dumb.
I should also describe the sword. It looks really. Have you seen Demon Slayer?
Yep.
And
Mhm.
Shinobu's blade. It looks
Okay.
pretty much just like that.
Okay.
Very like a
Thin
bunch
and
of
pointed.
metal is cut off. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
really like. It doesn't seem like it'd be a good thing for a fight, but he has it. All right. So we can sit here and we can, go back and forth. Oh, you're the dark side. Oh, blah 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 blah. Or we can go down that hallway.
What
A
do you
fine
bring to the
idea.
table? Okay. The agreements have been reached.
And I'll just start walking. I don't care about any order or anything. I'll just go.
Eldon does much the same. Just turns and heads down The corridor.
Excellent.
Way's gonna lazily follow, like he's a little slower, but also because as we are going, he is specifically trying to note any Urkatot as we go.
Ooh. Okay. Why don't you do me a favor and roll me? Let's call it. Give me a moment.
Tell you what,
Give me one moment. Yeah, let's call it a perception. Let's roll a perception. We're going to say
my perception's so bad.
3 difficulty, but I won't give you any setback dice because you do have dark vision.
Yeah, my perception's really bad. Oof.
What do we got? Wonderful. Okay. So 3 threat, no success. I like this. So I think what happens is, as the 3 of you enter into this hall, I think there is almost incidentally a marching order with Bellator in the front, Valden close behind, and then with a couple of feet between them, Waycash. And as the 3 of you enter this hallway, it's dark. It almost feels like more darkness has settled here. Maybe it's because with no cracks to the surface, there is no light to seep through. Maybe it's something else. But either way, there is so much more darkness here than where the chamber where you begun. Your footsteps echo, occasionally wet splashes of water that had been dripping down for who knows how long, finding rest here. The stone floor beneath you is unsteady, itself likely worn down over centuries, maybe longer. At about the same time, Valden, you and Bellator see at the other end of this winding hallway another room open with braziers that somehow still carry blazing red flame, creating sources of light that allow you to see the what were once likely rich tapestries woven together telling some sort of tales, now barely hanging in ripped, torn, and likely eaten tatters, eroded by time and whatever else may call this place home. Way, you, as you make your way through this tunnel unimpeded by the darkness, find yourself gazing and glancing over these walls, and there is a moment where things feel unsteady. Things feel discomforting. You hear whispers in your head, low, soft voices, cool and calm and collected. They do not seem angry or forceful. They do not demand of you. They, in fact, don't even seem to be addressing you. They seem to be addressing each other, at least as far as you can tell. The words that they speak simultaneously do and don't make sense, burning their way into your brain. And you can feel your hand tremble upon your cane. And then, almost as quickly as they appeared, they fall silent.
Whoops. I think he just stops and he just, under the mask, kind of closes his eyes and breathes in deeply, trying to recenter himself. He expected something here, but this is a lot.
For Valden's going to be looking about to see if there is anything that jumps out um, with um, either xenology or lore or education or any sort of knowledge skills that he possesses. Anything about this scene that jumps out at him.
Yeah, why don't you roll me a lore? I like that a lot.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say that considering the amount of time that you've spent through your life really leaning into and learning and trying to absorb all of this to have that depth of understanding, I'm gonna give you a boost die for this.
Okay. And I also have uh, the ability. I negate a setback die on all lore roll or on all knowledge.
Oh, that's so good. Awesome. We're gonna say this is gonna be a 3 difficulty.
Okay. So let's see what we get here. Ooh, no successes, but I did get an advantage.
Oh. Okay. Okay, cool. So here's what's gonna happen. So you step into this room. The end of the hallway sort of flares open into the room, allowing enough space where, if you feel comfortable and confident enough to do so, you can step past Bellator. As you do, you sort of take in these tapestries and what small bits of them remain, racking your brain to try and recall anything that may connect here. And while nothing immediately stands out to you, for a moment, I think behind you, you hear whispers, like a whispered conversation, just sort of echoing off the walls. And then it fades. You cannot make out what they say, but you recognize that the language they speak is old.
Valden's going to not being overly cautious, but also not being reckless. Just step into the room and kind of just start moving about just to see if there are changing angles or anything, if he can see more of what's here.
So you step deeper into the room, and as you begin to take your steps, you can feel beneath your feet more of that unsteady, uneven ground. But you notice with those steps, I think, that there's a pattern to the unevenness. Though the ground itself doesn't look worked in any meaningful way, your steps reveal a purposefulness to it somehow. And as you take these different angles to try and look through the room, you see faint hints of, well, nothing, I suppose. You thought there was something there. You feel confident that there was something that caught your eye. But as you try and focus your mind on it, it almost seems to actively elude you. And the more that you do, the more that you chase it, the more of a gap you feel in your perception. And it ushers you on as though this swirling pit of uncertainty that grows and grows and grows, demanding more and more of your focus and your thought and your attention. Do you give it? Or
Yeah, Valden would open up just a bit, just to kind of test the waters, if you will.
I love that. I'm gonna ask you to roll me a discipline,
Discipline for sure.
and we're gonna make this a difficulty 3 as well.
All right.
Well, that happens.
Yeah.
Ronin Bellator very, very recklessly just walks into the room like he's supposed to be there.
Love it.
One success.
Hey, love that. Okay. One success, nothing else.
Nothing else. Just one
You know?
success.
Awesome. Okay. So here's what happens, and I think this happens almost in the same moment. So Valden, you sort of are very carefully sort of letting yourself sort of dip your toes. And as you do, you feel almost like stepping into a whirlpool, like it's trying to pull you in. You swear that there's an answer somewhere in here. You just have to find how to look at it in the right direction, at the right angle, how to think the right thought to make it click. And it is in that moment where I think it's the movement out of the corner of your eye as Ronin steps into the room that gives you the opportunity to sort of recognize what it is that's happening to you here, and the sort of trap that you've stepped into, and the way that maybe not the Force itself, but something wielding it is trying to use what is clearly one of your strengths against you to try and slow you, stop you, maybe even harm you. And Ronin, you step into the room and you can hear those footsteps again, echoing. On the far end of the chamber, there is a door. It's not open. There's no reason you should be able to hear footsteps through what you imagine to be a thick stone door, but they're there. And then again, you can hear the ignition of a saber. And then it putters out, sputtering and dying. As it does, the flames in the room flicker just slightly. And then
Do we also hear the saber going? Is that just a Bellator thing, or do we also hear it?
it's just a Bellator thing for now.
Okay.
Then the flames in the room burst brighter, greater, and the flames begin to change. Black strands lacing their way up with red heat burning in the center until they themselves have become fully blackened flames, flickering, still letting off light. But there is a coldness that sweeps through the room. And
Go ahead.
at your hip, you feel a burning sensation.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, a check. I wasn't gonna be like, oh, but I was gonna be like, you know how you can like focus, you can just like turn your mind's eye to like a part of your body. That's what I was gonna do. But lovely. So he's piping up. Am I getting a like a go this way vibe from it, or is it just kind of like, is he just excited about something?
I think it's up to you how you interpret it.
Lovely. Then I go this way. I go to that door. So, I'm not at all like, I'm semi paying attention to the other two, because
just in case.
But I'm here for a reason, and I'm gonna do it no matter who's around me. It's what Ronin's about.
Wait. Oh, yes.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm just gonna put out there that because it may become relevant here in this particular session. not just from those, but also from external things. Since we're now in the middle of this, Valden has one of the uh, most insidious and weird abilities, but really fun abilities in the game. So he has a calming aura. And so what that means is that if anyone targets him with a force ability, so you make that choice of how many of those force pips you're going to use, and then the other ones are like lost. After you've made that choice of, like, if you say I'm going to use 3 of them or whatever, I'm going to use 2 light and a dark, or I'm going to use a dark and a light or whatever, because of calming aura, however many of those you choose, you lose one off the top. So just putting that out there, that Veldin has that. It's a kind of a passive that's always on. So
Love that so
That's
much.
incredible.
Yeah,
That's really
so
good in this
That's
situation.
wild.
yeah.
Yes, it is. Okay, great. Way.
The Agility tank and a magic tank.
Way. You, I assume, are still in the hallway.
Yep.
What would you like to do? I don't even know if you noticed. Do you notice the 2 walk into the chamber ahead? Are you?
Not until right now. I think he's fascinated and intrigued by what this is, because he assumed it was going to be like a Sith temple, but it feels not the same as that. And he's kind of lost in how to deal with that. Noticing the other 2 have entered the room, though, I think both of them hear the quicker tapping of wood against stone as he rushes his way into the chamber and kind of makes his point again where he was in line order. He's watching Bellator pretty focused and trying to get a beat on what he's doing.
I think that's just about the moment where each of these flames turns. It's as you reach sort of Valden almost, where each of these flames bursts into black flame. Bellator, at the door, there are a number of intricate carvings, patterns and designs that sort of intersect with each other, creating these sort of diamond and circular shapes. But at the center of it is what looks like the carved out shape of a hand, indented into the door.
In me, if I see it, it's there. It's like it's. I don't know what you thought I was gonna do.
The door closes on your wrist. It's gone.
Yeah.
So you rest your hand into this indent, and for a moment, it feels as though your hand is fused to the stone, as though you couldn't take it back if you tried. And then pain. White hot, excruciating, agonizing, soul shattering pain. And then 2 things happen. 1, I'm going to ask you to take 1 wound.
Lovely.
2,
are my wounds still the same as from last time?
No, you've had the time
Okay.
to rest.
Cool beans. Just making sure. Right.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see blood begin to trickle down into these designs, these shapes, these patterns. And it's a lot of blood. Honestly, it can't all be yours. Because if it was, there's no way you'd be standing right now. but it pours down, and as it does, it flows through these shapes on the door until it reaches the ground, and then you all can see as blood begins to flow along these deep, almost microscopic, well, not microscopic, but like small, incredibly impossibly thin lines that have been carved out through the ground that you stand on, creating these shapes and symbols. And I will allow both of our Jedi here to roll lore for this if you want. It's very difficult. We're gonna put it at a 4 difficulty. It's very hard, but doable. And I think like last time, Valden, I'm gonna give you a boost die for this. In
Okay,
fact,
wait.
actually, I think you both. Yes.
Before Waycash rolls,
Yes.
I am going to do something here.
Oh yeah, please.
So I am going to make a roll. It's an average check for me. So let me hold on. Let me make this roll and see what I get. And I succeed, which means that I can do this once per encounter using valuable facts. So, like, looking at it, Valden's gonna kind of like think about what he thinks about it and point out some like little things, and then Waykesh will add a triumph to his roll.
That's
Ooh,
great. I
that's real
love
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That is
I
awesome.
for that. That's awesome.
Let's go.
Okay. I'm just making sure I've done this right. No, I did not.
And I'm way you also get a boost die.
I get the boost. Okay.
Yeah, on top of all this.
All right.
Yeah.
There we go.
Holy smokes! So you get a triumph from me too. So you got 3 triumphs.
Gosh.
Now let me see if I got anything. And I got 2 successes and a threat. So holy cow, Waycash! You just like
Waycash can see the force.
Yes. You have become the force.
He's like, I was there 1,000 years ago.
You know,
reborn
Is
in
it
another
conduit
world as a
time?
Jedi?
it's
Is
so funny
Waycash
you
the
say
conduit?
that.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Here we go.
So,
tell me,
Way. There's a moment where, as you are looking at all of this and seeing some of the things that Valden is pointing out to you in the intricacies of the patterns, there is a moment where it feels familiar but is so far out of reach. And then everything shifts around you. You feel yourself falling into the ocean that is the Force. You feel as though you are being swept on these waves, and you can feel the duality inside of you. But it's not at war. It seems to be working perfectly in sync. Every time that the darker side of this wave pulls at you, the lighter side gently leads you in that direction, ensuring that you continue moving forward, never pulled too far from your course, but your momentum builds from the force being applied to lead you there. And then you find yourself here in this chamber, but it is almost pristine. There are signs of aging, certainly, but all of it is still intact. Dust, the occasional rodent scampering through cracks in the walls, but the tapestries themselves are perfect, fully formed as though woven days before, and you can feel what you at first believed to be your cane dragging along the floor. Looking down, you see it is a significantly thinner stick, sort of dragging through gravel, creating intricate lines and shapes. On the far end of the chamber, you see 3 hooded figures. In the center, the tallest, their face just barely visible when you notice and recognize from the statues that you had seen just before. And then confusion, because you know enough of your history to know that the timeline does not match up. There's no way that what you're seeing right now could have happened. Well, not literally at least. But you continue to take your steps and you continue to carve. And as you do, Bane steps forward and begins to walk the path of your carvings. 2, 3 steps behind you as you intricately lay these out, knowing exactly where each one should be and why they should be there. Because if this is not perfect, then everything will fail. And you know that you have so long to wait. You can't have these things fail. For a moment, you see yourself now as though a ghost standing beside Valden, watching as these fill with blood, and you are filled with joy and peace and promise. And then you feel a hand on your shoulder, and it is hot, like an active live fire threatening to consume everything around it, and you turn, and the red glowing eyes watch you. The visage of Bane slowly fading to dust. But you know that this ritual is complete now. And with it, everything is one step closer to how it should be, how it needs to be, how you've always known it would be. And then you're back, here, watching as the last bits of blood fill in these symbols, these intricate diamonds and swirls, and then a grinding sound as the stone door that Bellator's hand was rested upon begins to draw back, revealing another hallway.
I think what Bellator and Velden hear is the soft sound of a cry. Cash takes a bit of his robe and tries to press it against the base of the mask, but the liquid caught in there is not something he can remove so easily. And as such, a large amount of steam puffs out of the tendril front of the mask.
Valden, what are you
I
doing?
think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You're muted.
I'm like, I'm gonna wait unmuted. Malden is just going to squint and just try and gain a sense of is what's playing out before us with this in the grooves, what's playing out before us. does it seem that Wakesh is the reaction from Wakesh is because of that, or because of something besides that?
It is Wakesh has the demeanor of somebody who is at total peace with the world around them. Like seeing just like a wonderful vista at golden hour.
Question. This is not good. Ronin doesn't do any because there are things popping off my head right now. Ronin doesn't move from in front of the door, but he does turn his head. Sorry, I should start saying Bellator. Here we go. It's hard to get out of. But he turns his head in upon hearing the like little sob that came from Wakesh. And do I get the sense that it's a piece because of what just happened? I feel like it might be the same question that Veldon asked, but you know.
I think Bellator would read it differently. This is so first of all, because of the amount that they care about Wakesh, Veldon probably looked at the first cry there, and Bellator probably sees all the steam fire out. And what you see and probably read, because how Wakesh's chaos and order kind of fall, is a peace, but with confidence. Almost like a gear clicked in and he understood something. He picked up on something first. He knows something you don't.
Interesting. I say that out loud.
Alden is going to just try and realizing full well where he is, as he's done before in this kind of midst of this place and this darkness, he is going to try and just kind of ride the storm and just kind of find those bits of like calm, those troughs in the wave to try and stay centered in the midst of all that's going on.
I like that. I'm not going to ask you to roll for that. I think that, at least for now, I think you're able to find that fairly confidently. Bellator, that burning at your hip seems to be growing. Now, beyond the door, in case you choose to ignore it, you see another one of these winding hallways. This one has a number of those braziers lined up on the wall before it curves and disappears from your line of sight, each one flickering with that same black flame.
I follow it. I go down there. There's two conflicting things with Ronin here, or Bellator here. One, there's a mind where he has to sit in this room and absorb whatever dark powers may sit here, or his curiosity peaks up, which gets the best of him because he does go down the hallway, and it's to see what's further on. My chaos in order. Well, my chaos is recklessness. So I just, you know.
Dark Jedi, what do you do as you watch him walk off?
I think Waycash looks to Veldin and says, "Balance in everything, Master."
Belden will look over and say, there is a reason there are two sides to the Force. And though
Way
we
will
may not,
not. Oh, no,
and
please
though we may
continue.
not always understand it, is simply a fact of the living force.
When we escape here, I think I'll have some questions. Or at least need some guidance.
As might we all.
Bellator.
Shall we continue observing for now?
Yes.
They'll just. Way will start following.
Yep.
Let
Wonderful.
himself watch Bellator.
Yeah. Bellator, you're the first to make it across the wind in this hallway. Again, it opens into a relatively spacious room, although the ceiling is mostly collapsed in, leaving it at only about 6 or 7 feet of standing room. But it's wide and long and mostly rounded. In this room, there are a few things. There are shelves of books, most of which are rotted and lost to time. The shelves themselves broken, some wood, some metal, some stone, but all collapsed in on themselves, fallen apart. The ones that you assume were wood are mostly rotted through. There are spokes that stick out, somehow preserved from these. They seem to barely be clinging together, but the books are almost piles of mulch. To be fair, even this is astounding to think about, considering how long it's been here and, well, the temperate of the planet itself. But what really draws your attention is in the center of this room. This room with no doors, no entrance or exit besides the hall from which you came through. The podium in the center of this room is a stone slab, the center of which has an indent, which you know immediately will perfectly fit your guide. And again, you feel that burning at your hip.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, old man. Let's see what you got, and I'll stick it. I'll put it there.
Wonderful. So, what happens next? We see you pluck this thing off your belt and set it down on the slab. Valden Way, the two of you enter just in time to see as Bellator takes a step back. And seated in the center of the room is something you both recognize immediately as a Sith holocron, or at least the remnants of one. It does not look to be in good shape. Broken panes of glass, degraded, rusted, broken bits of metal, pieces missing from it, and the light in its center flickering as it comes to life. And then projected from it, you see a familiar figure again, bathed in that sort of bluish light, flickering in and out of existence the way the red light did before. Darth Bane. And The projection's eyes first look to Bellator, and then over to the two of you, and there is a sneer. And then the eyes fall back to Bellator. What have you done?
What you wanted.
And what was it that I wanted?
Well, to be fair, I can't quite honestly answer that question. You always seem so fucking, what's the word? Not forthcoming with what you want, truly. You just, go to this place, do a thing, and then you'll find your answers. And that's all you give us. So if this isn't what you wanted, you should have stated it more clearly.
You think it humorous to bring Jedi to my home?
I didn't bring them. They followed me. It's
Good.
different.
Then deal with them, and you will be but one step from the end of your journey.
All right. And I'll turn around. I said, I said I'd follow. I said I'd do it just once to see what happens. Hey, you two mind stepping out of there?
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out if you're following his order or not. Are you asking us just to leave the room?
Yeah, just go back down the stairs.
Is there like another way out through here? Is it just like a
Seems like that's the only one. Seems like.
Master Veldon? I'm very confused what protocol is here. There are stories, but this has been a very different experience than expected.
So it has.
Do we just... Is that something we...
I think we
The more time that you leave them, the more they have to prepare.
Give me a second. Bellator.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm willing to step out. Just fill us in after.
so happy right now.
All right. Sure.
Ellen will kind of warily start like backing out of the room.
Yeah, Waycash will follow. Like I said, this is like, well, how long has it been since the last Jedi Sith clash? Like there are stories, but
yeah,
it's like we were told that they were monsters, and this guy may be a bit prickly, but he's not even really an asshole yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little over 200 years, 230 years since the last known clash.
Okay, if you need a hand, just be careful.
No, we're all good.
No,
Yeah,
well, I'm just
you
backs out. Call us if you need us.
I think it's in the moment. Who's the first one to reach the threshold between the two of you?
Probably Valdin.
Okay. Valdin. As you reach the threshold, there is a moment where you just hear this deep, throaty, like growling, snarling sound. And then the chamber begins to shake. And you can all hear from Bellator behind you as this projection goes. You bring them to my home, and you would let them leave?
You said you don't want them here.
And then you all hear whispering echoing through the chamber. Like dozens, no, hundreds, maybe thousands of voices overlapping over one another. It starts low and slow and soft and grows until it is this echoous, cacophonous sound assailing your ears. These words barely comprehensible, and as soon as you do get some inkling of what they mean, they slip between your fingers. It is exhausting, and it is weighty, and it is a warning. And then, one by one, each of the braziers goes out. And you are now in darkness, with this whispering still echoing around you. Bellator, you feel a white hot burning sensation begin in your chest and spread through your body like fractals of pain building upon one another as they burn you from the inside. I'm going to ask you to take 2 points of strain. What would you all like to do?
All right. Listen. And I'll turn back toward Bane. And I'll say, look, this is what I mean. You got to be more clear with your directions. You say get rid of them. Does that mean you want them to die, or do you want them to leave? That's the real question. And this is what we're saying. You got to be more. You got to give us more. You can't just say, because getting rid of them could just mean they leave. So, like, that's what I did. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Can you stop with the chest thing? It's painful.
In response, there's more of that rumbling, and you can hear the sound of cracking stone as small bits of rock begin to fall from the roof around you. Our Jedi, you are near the exit if you'd like. It's easy enough to walk off into the hallway. And
How
whether or not that is a thought you would commonly consider, you do find yourself thinking it.
how big's this room? Like, how far to the center where the holocron is? Like, paint me that picture.
I would say from where you are at the entrance, it's probably about 25 to 30 feet.
Oh, so like
Center.
not that far at all.
It's not terrible. Yeah. More like 30, 35. Still not bad. Still not bad at all. Like 30, 35.
Okay. Loud enough so Veldon can hear it. Waycash will say, do we go for the holocron?
I am reluctant to act in a way that might seem aggressive, or we are met with the same.
Very well. We wait. So in the darkness, Waycash will yell out, Bellator, just know that he bastardized the original Sith.
You say that, and the whispers grow again louder. And now, for those of you who can see through this darkness, this almost pitch black, which I think we said it's just you,
Just
right,
Way.
Way?
Yeah.
I have.
You got
looked at my
echolocation,
sheet.
sort of.
I do have echolocation essentially, or
Mhm.
but I also have the from Seer. I have Keen-eyed, which lets me get rid of a setback dice for perception or vigilance checks. I believe it said. Let me double check. Yeah,
Okay.
perception and vigilance checks. You remove one setback die per rank of Keen-eyed,
Excellent.
and
You also
decreases
have
time to search a specific area in half.
excellent. You also have sense danger, right?
Let me double check. I believe I do. Yes, I do.
Okay, awesome. So, I think there are different ways in which this works for everyone. And Master Valden, do you have sense?
I do.
Excellent. So, here's what I'm gonna say happens. Valden, if you would like, considering everything in here is just teeming with the Force, and you have such a long storied history of connecting with and following the Force, I will give you the opportunity, if you would like, to lock one of your Force dice in order to be able to be constantly sensing anything that is Force related happening in this room while in darkness.
Sure. Why not?
Excellent. Okay. Then, Way, Valden, what you see happen, and Bellator, what you can feel happening around you are a series of dark, red, spectral hands rising from the ground, almost like they are dragging themselves up through the rubble and the dirt here as this place continues to shake. Each of them malformed, misshapen, but each wearing these long, flowing black robes that seem to be made completely of spectral smoke, wisping through their ethereal bodies. They seem to be nothing from the waist down, floating. Each of these 9 figures wielding in their hands what seems to be a spectral saber of some sort, the blades themselves glowing bright, angry red, crimson. And we're gonna roll initiative.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I'm gonna say is, in this instance, we're gonna roll with vigilance, because I think this is happening relatively quickly.
Okay.
And I had a boost die for this from what was it? The uncanny reactions.
Wonderful. Yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna say, Valden. No, yeah, you're all good. Yeah, proceed.
Okay. All right.
Oh, excuse me.
See what we get here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I will roll as well. Give me one moment.
Pretty solid all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that.
Hey, calm down. One more success you had to? Did you get one more?
Yeah, it does seem that way. That is what had to happen. Don't worry, I think you'll be relatively happy with it overall. Wei, you have a triumph or an advantage, correct?
We all
I
have
do.
advantages, I believe.
Excellent. Okay.
We all
So
have
Ethan has
advantage.
many.
Yeah.
yes. Okay, so here's the order. Okay. So there is one NPC who goes before y'all. Then there are 3 PC slots. Now, because we haven't gotten too deep into combat before, real quick, as I understand it, the way it works is now that y'all have all rolled initiative, the slots are filled out as PC or NPC slots. As one of those slots comes up, y'all can decide who goes where. Now,
Yep.
I'm going to say that until such a time as it becomes clear that you are not all collectively working together, those are shared slots. If that changes, then Bellator will be able, since he rolled the highest, will be able to pick which of those slots becomes sort of a locked-in Bellator's slot. But
That works.
for now, as we move into initiative, the first thing that happens is Bellator, you hear another snarl from behind you, that sound of rage and disgust that you are honestly becoming relatively that's becoming fairly recognizable, I think is the word I
Yeah,
was
I'm
looking
used to it.
for there. Yeah. And what we're gonna do is yes, there it is. Okay. I'm gonna roll this. 1, 2, 3. So you see the projection of Bane, arms outstretched as these things are rising to the surface. And through the collapsed roof, you hear the crackling of electricity, the roar of thunder, and then flashes of lightning as it strikes the roof over and over and over again. And you can see rubble starting to begin to fall, pelting the group of you and the rest of the room as it does. It's clear that the top of this chamber is very precarious, and it looks like your guide's looking to bring it down. And then we get to a PC slot, so any of the 3 of you can go from here.
I'll let Bellator go first because Bellator is
Makes the most sense. Yeah.
in the midst of all of this.
I I will I will say to Bane. I'm so conflicted here. I look. I love a fight, but I'm also like, should I fight Bane? This whole thing we got going on. And I'll just say, I'll just say to Bane this without drawing my weapons. I'll just say, listen. Probably not the best way to start off.
Sorry.
Listen. I told you we'd be willing to try it your way this time. But you're making it mighty hard to do so. I'm not looking to add more bodies to my belt, at least not right now. So, let them go, and we can keep it between you and I. If you want to kill me, or try to at least, then you can do that. We'll leave those 2 out of it. Not that I care about them. I just don't see the point.
You beg me to spare the lives of Jedi.
Big is too strong of a word.
You are a failure. Hopefully, the other will not be. I will. Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna allow you to try and roll me a charm or coercion. I'm gonna tell you though, this is going to cost a couple things. Because what you are attempting to do here is as close to impossible as I think you can in convincing this man who created the rule of two to let the Jedi go. So we will flip a force point or a destiny point as part of the cost. And then you're going to need to roll 5 difficulty on this. But I'll let you try.
Oh. So you said charm or which one?
Coercion.
Not to make things more difficult for the Sith, but you can also upgrade difficulties too. Just saying.
It's true.
Hey.
I think we're good on this.
Calm down. Calm down. Don't need none of that.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna go.
That's super fair. But I want there to be just the barest chance that this happens.
I'm gonna go. Not charm, coercion. Yeah. You said how many? 5 difficulty?
5 difficulty.
Hoo-wee.
Do we pick up, other than the sense, are we picking up anything else as this like exchange between them is going on?
In terms of what? Exactly.
Are we like hearing Bane at all or no?
I think so, yes. It's faint, it's a little hard to pick out, but I don't think it's gotten loud enough yet that you can't hear it. In fact, I think Bane specifically is echoing off of the walls.
Okay.
Okay. That is successes.
Wow.
Oh, did we succeed?
Bro, he succeeded and got a ton of threat.
I got 2 successes and 7 threat. Oh yeah.
That's nuts. That's so much threat.
Holy
shit.
I can't express how beautiful that is, though, that he succeeded but got all that threat.
My goodness. Okay.
That is beautiful.
Where the Force leads. I will follow.
That is beautiful.
Okay. Huh. That's so much threat.
That is so much threat.
Okay.
Look, making friends.
Making friends. There's a moment where even in the dark, Bellator, you can see thought cross the eyes of this projection. And then another grin. I will grant you your wish. But I will expect nothing less than total obedience. This is your offer. You will not get another.
Does Waycash do the Waycash thing?
We'll get a second. I'm going
that's
to
what
let.
I'm thinking.
Yeah. So X, I will give you the chance to respond, and then we will move to the next person in initiative.
There's needless killing was something that we agreed upon. And by we, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So there's no. What's true, Ronin truly does not care Like if Bane was to kill the two of them right now, he'd be like, well, guess that went off. I guess that didn't go right. Anyway, what's next? So like, but it's just there's a lot more that's on his plate now, because of certain things that have happened recently with his new position in life. So that he's thinking more carefully. So I think in this moment, through 1,000% of reluctance, he does still say, fine.
Okay. One of our Jedi is up next. Before we see what happens here, I will give you both a chance to react. So who would like to go first?
Hey?
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to make sure I can word this right. What does Zach know about Bane that I can pull? Because apparently Wei Cash's thing is making fun of Sith Lords. Or at least hitting them in their ego.
Would you like to roll some lore about it?
Yeah, I might as well. Like, any excuse to roll a die.
Okay, we're gonna put it at 3 difficulty.
Okay, we'll see, and then we'll see how I respond. Okay, 3 successes and an advantage.
Okay,
Nice.
so one thing that you remember.
What's this guy butthurt about?
Probably failure. So you vaguely recall that in a text that you've read in your like familial archives, that Bane was thought to be the Sith Ari, which is the term for essentially the chosen one for the Sith, the one who would finally lead them to victory. And for a time after his demise, I mean, things felt like they were going pretty well. But here you are, once again, in a position where the Jedi are kind of the reigning force in the galaxy. As far as you know, the big plan culminated and then failed over 200 years ago. And even now, it seems like the backup doesn't seem to care very much about doing things the way he wanted. So for the legendary hero of the Sith, it doesn't seem like he had much success.
Yeah, how known was like the oh my god, what was it called? The Brotherhood of Darkness. Like that stuff we have like public access information on, right? More or less like the existence of them, I mean.
You know that they
Him being the
existed.
sole survivor, I should say.
Yeah, I think that that's something that y'all would have access to. Sure.
Okay. So Wei Kesh says, you would take service from one who claimed to be Sith Ari, yet was the sole survivor of the Brotherhood of Darkness. Our organization never quite faltered, and here you are, Bellator, trying to reestablish something from a being who failed.
And the eyes that were directly on Bellator during this exchange cut sharply to you.
What would lead you to believe he deserves your fealty? He's relaxed. He's still writing that piece.
And Bane sneers at you and goes,
And I
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
think to Bane,
Uh-huh.
I would say Ravis's blood still lives.
Everything dies, Jedi.
You're right. Everything. It's a cycle.
And when the Sith die, I raise them from their ashes. I bring them back to glory. And I care not for your meddling.
Your story brings them back. They should be standing on the shoulders of themselves.
And Valden, I think we're gonna move on to you.
Walden will say the Sith were once as numerous as the Jedi. There are grand tales of great conflicts between the Jedi and the Sith. And when it fell to you, they were reduced. For you to return them to their former glory. This does not ring true to the history of what the Sith once were. The Sith once commanded an empire and had legions.
The Sith were once fools. Their empire should not be built on the backs of their own. There are but two who must ascend, and when they do, the rest will find their place at our feet.
I add something to Veldin on this.
As long as Veldin's cool with it, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
At the height of your power, the same number of Sith stood as there are Jedi in this room.
And Veldin will say, and yet, to be fair, the Jedi fell. But they fell because of a parade of Sith who did not even follow your rule, with secret apprentices and infighting that strayed from what you had laid out for them. So did they need you at all?
So as this is happening, these spectral red spirits begin to close in on you. Now, it is entirely up to the two of you if you choose to draw your sabers or not.
You're getting quiet.
What?
You didn't quite catch the end of that.
Sorry. It is up to you if you choose to draw your sabers or not. And Valden, you still have an action if you choose to take any.
Valden is watching these spectral red things to see what they are doing. Are they like advancing on us,
They
or
are
are they
advancing on you, yes.
Okay. Veldin, well, he's not going to draw it quite yet, but he's going to stand ready.
Excellent. Bane looks back to you, Bellator, and goes, These are the ones that you wish to barter your freedom for.
He's going to wait and see what these spectral read.
Mm-hmm.
Let them take the first action.
Are you going to let them go or not? Because that was the condition.
It was. And then they decided that they knew better. And now you can die with them. And these spectral, like, creatures descend on the group of you. We're going to start with...
On us or all three of us?
On all three of you.
Okay.
Okay. Then,
Yes.
if there's one ready to swing on Bellator,
Mm-hmm.
because that feels like that's what's coming next.
100% that's what's coming.
I activate Bodyguard.
All right,
And
walk me through it.
I basically swing up to Bellator, maneuvering through them. Bellator, you're going to get increased difficulty against you by 1.
Oh, that's good.
Let's see. And I suffer 1 strain because I
that's-
just got this ability.
Uh-huh.
But you are harder to hit because I'm covering your back.
Awesome.
Oh, nice. I did not expect this to go this way, but here
This is not the episode I prepped for, but I'm so glad we're here. This is awesome.
This is how it's happening.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna start. I have to assemble a die pool. Do. And it's +1 difficulty, right?
Yep.
That's
Until the start of Veldon's turn next round.
that's so good. Okay, so that's 3 difficulty because it's usually 2 on melee. Awesome. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. Great. Cool. Okay, so the first of these spirits does in fact come dashing down towards Bellator, or dashing across towards Bellator, just shooting itself forward, leaving behind wisps of red and black. Well, that's an interesting roll.
Yeah. Are these spirits? So they're
Horse.
they're like energy.
They are, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, calm presenced.
Oh yeah. They're like they're spectral.
Okay.
And yeah, yep. Okay, so I think what we're gonna say here is it is a failure. Why don't you do. Yes, okay, cool. Wei, why don't you describe how you managed to deflect this particular attack as this misshapen spectral form comes lunging in at Bellator, saber coming down through the darkness. Just flashes of light appearing to illuminate the two of you as this happens.
As the blade comes down behind Bellator, the wooden staff, still closed in, the cane flicks the blade in the air, and Waykesh stands ready to draw, but still holding the stick in front. It looks like he just deflected this saber with a stick, is essentially what happened.
And I think there's a second one that comes in almost immediately afterwards to the exact same effect. Is almost in that same movement, you're able to sort of pivot.
Yeah, like a dueling cane is basically what's happened.
Yup. Awesome. From there, I think another one of them comes sort of charging directly at you, Wei. And as it does, I'm going to need you... Oh, okay, cool. So actually, do you get that bonus as well? Or
No.
Okay.
It's while I'm guarding.
All right. So then one of them's gonna dash at you, thrusting their saber forward, coming almost like at an angle towards you, as you deflect the first two.
We're gonna parry.
Sure. Is that before or after I roll?
Oh, it's when hit. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that is 2 hits. So if you want to parry, you can. hits in the
Let's see.
threat.
I totally reduced the damage
Let's go. By
because parry.
uh-huh.
My parry reduces it by 3. Wait.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, I just saw reflect and I thought I could do something back, but I can't. That's a different skill tree.
And also now that we're in combat, Valden's gonna like pull back that force die that was committed to the.
Sure, yeah. 100%. I'm gonna say that
So-
even though it is dark in here, with all of the light coming from the weapons, I think that you will still have 1 setback die, but it'll be 1 instead of 2, like it normally would be.
Yeah.
If you want to pull back that force die.
Yep.
Okay. So,
So-
you said you reduced by 3, correct?
Yeah, so the damage is just gone. So what'll happen here?
Actually, the damage is not gone because you're only reducing by 3 damage, right?
Oh, well, let me double check.
Yeah, double check. Yeah,
You
'cause
said it's 2 hits, right?
it's 2 hits, but it's more damage than that.
Okay, wait a second. How do you? Oh, wait, it's only 2 hits. Let me check. How do you check your armor and stuff like that?
It's
Should be
based on your brawn
yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely.
and
get a hit.
any armor like your defense is based on your any kind of armor you have or parry, and then if you're hit, your
Okay.
armor is going to subtract damage.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
your soak is, right?
Soak is
Or armor is
Oh.
separate.
armor,
Armor-
does something thing.
Yeah, armor adds to soak basically.
Right, yes. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
But some armors also have defense, which makes you harder to hit. It depends
Mhm.
on the armor.
Mine do have defense.
Yeah, so if
it's my brawn plus my melee defense, then is that how it works?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
or your defense is just if it has a defense, what's the defense number?
The defense on it's 2.
2.
Yeah, so that's just going to add setback dice to the roll.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So I have to add
Yeah.
setback dice. Cool.
Yeah, that'll add a couple of setback dice, and then the soak will be your brawn. Plus, if you have an armor number other than defense.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
see. Yeah, like looking at your sheet right now, I see you have 2 soak. I don't know if that's still accurate.
That's not true.
That's the old
because
one,
the
right?
armor had 2 soak and then the brawn, which is
So then
3.
you yeah
You have 3
yes
soak. Okay.
yes.
Cool. So
I will have to send you an updated version because I realized I did not do that character sheet right.
Yeah.
and I've been fixing it as we've gone.
no worries.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
okay.
so the setback die canceled. They didn't roll anything. So here's what happens. The weapon, being a lightsaber, does have breach. It has breach 1, which means it's gonna ignore 10 points of soak. So what's gonna happen is you parried, correct? So it's still 3 less damage.
Yeah, and then my defense on top of that.
So this is where Valden's going to do something now.
Yeah.
But it depends on how much damage he takes, and then we'll see what Valden
Sure.
can do.
So it is base 6 plus the additional success, which would make it 7.
Okay.
The parry reduces it by 3, so it would be 4 currently.
Okay. Yep.
4,
So
and then
Valden
there's
is
the 2 for my defense, right?
That's your defense adds setback dice. Which
yeah. That was what added the setback
Yeah,
dice.
yeah.
Yeah. So Valden is going to reach out with the force
Ooh.
on that roll and use protect.
Yes.
Ooh.
And let me see what I can make out of this. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. I have, because of one of my abilities, I have a boost die on this. So there it is. That's what I was looking for. So I will spend those 2 light side points. That will reduce the damage by 1, 2, by my willpower plus 1, which I think is 4. Yep, 4. So Veldin reaches out with the force and does like a Kylo Ren meets Yoda with like basically absorbing the energy of the attack that's going to
I love
strike.
that. Heck yeah. And as it makes contact, there is just this streak of like red just plasma that splashes off and fades, and then the whispers grow louder and more agitated and angry. And one of these, actually 2 of these specters are going to come at you, Valden.
Okay.
So
Valden will basically prepare the light foil as they approach.
Heck yeah.
So that gives me has defensive 2, so that'll give me a defensive 2 as well. So it'll add a couple of setback dice to whatever they.
Heck yeah. Do you want to describe what we see as you sort of like settle into position with your light foil at the ready?
Yeah, Veldin will step back from like hand extended, kind of step back and in a smooth movement reach back into his robes, drawing this light foil that comes out with a cyan kind of tealish blade that is thinner than a typical lightsaber blade, and like just kind of drop back and like kind of do the Qui-Gon with holding the blade in front of him.
Would love to see it. All right, let's see how it goes. Ooh, 1 success.
Okay.
1 threat. All right. So, as they come in at you, similarly, there is it has breach 1.
Okay. Yep.
So unless you have enough to still mitigate, you will
that'll
be
just
taking...
Yeah, that'll burn through my my soak. So whatever the damage is.
Great. So here's what's going to happen next. So 2 of these spirits come like dashing towards you as they see you reach out with the force to protect your ally. And as they do, sabers come plunging down towards you. The first is relatively easy to deflect. It takes you almost no like effort to do so, as you just sort of like guide and push it off to the side. The other one, however, comes streaking across as your arm is extended, and the blade slices across your chest. However, there is no wound that is made across your chest. Instead, you feel as though your soul is being rent from your body as you are being torn apart from the inside. There is no heat like you would expect from the blade of a saber, but instead ice cold, and for a moment it feels as though you have lost your connection to the force, but quickly it returns. You're going to take 6 points of strain.
Okay.
And you are disoriented. You have disorient 2, which means until 2 rounds for the next 2 rounds, any skill checks you make will be made with an additional setback die.
Yep. Okay.
As the world seems to sort of feel distant from you for a moment. Almost as though this guide who has been holding your hand for your entire life, just to offer peace and solace, has now slipped from your grasp.
Okay.
And then, unless there's anything anyone would like to do in that moment,
I would love to do something. It's like bubbling anger that boils up in Ronin, because for the first time in this 7-year-long journey, I tried my best to do what this guy says, and still he meets me with candied words and all this extra pomp and circumstance, and I'm pissed off. So what I do is I quit. I take out into a run like I usually do, drop levels, and I run towards the two that just attack Velden, and quick draw. My sword on my back shoots to my hand, and it lights up. Black lightsaber, and I am going to slice and dice at the two that just attacked Valden.
Love it. Let's make it happen.
So I'm assuming it's a lightsaber check here.
Correct. With a difficulty of 2. I'm going to double check something very quickly before you roll. Just to make sure. Yes. However, unfortunately, you are going to have to make this lightsaber check using willpower as the base.
Ooh. Is it making me do that?
It is making you do that.
Oh wow, it's a wonderful
You
time.
recognize, I think, in this moment that they are beings of the Force, and that if you go at them with full-out brute strength, you will not be able to get anywhere. In fact, you may just make them stronger.
Ooh, lovely. All right, we'll do. So that sets my die to whatever the amount of die I have to my willpower, correct?
So yeah, so it'll be whatever the higher number is how many green dice you'll roll. So your willpower is 2, right? Or did it go up?
Yes, it's 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
and your rank in lightsaber is
3.
So you'll roll 1 green die and 2 yellow die because the lower number boosts up dice.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And then 2
And how
difficulty.
many? Lovely. 1 success and 3 advantage.
Hey,
Nice.
that's
Nice.
real good. Okay. Give me one moment. I just want to check one thing very quickly. I apologize.
And just for reference, since we're in combat, you can spend those advantage to do things like give the next. For example, you can spend 1 advantage to give the next person who goes a boost die. You can spend 2 advantage to give any ally a boost die, or similarly the same number of setback dice to an opponent.
Yep. You can also use 1 to get back strain, I believe.
Correct. Yep. You can use one. It's a 1 for 1 to get back strain.
I will use in that case. Lovely. That's great to know.
That is incredible information to have.
Or also, because you're wielding a lightsaber, I believe your critical range is 2.
Yeah.
You can spend 2 advantage to make it a critical hit.
Yeah. Or you can spend 3 to give yourself +1 melee or range defense, I believe.
Yes. So yeah, all of those are options.
Yeah.
I think
on top of active abilities as well.
Right.
I will do 2 to give myself some strain back. Because I use a lot of that.
Smart.
And I'll use the 1 to give whoever goes next to boost die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delightful. Why don't you describe how you eviscerate this spirit? In fact, why don't you describe how you eviscerate 2 of these spirits?
So it's it is probably less calculated or less practiced than way Kesh's style is. Like you'd all see, he's going purely off instinct when he fights. It is just I'm in a zone. He's not even really talking anymore. His eyes are sort of, I don't know if you can really see him, but his eyes are just sort of like blankly staring ahead of him, taking in all that's around, and he's just focused innately. And he's really like low. He's really low in his levels while he's fighting. He's like almost crouch running, or sort of Naruto running basically as he fights. And it's just he does like a knee slide and just cuts at the two of them, just in between, as he stands up next to Valden. And just, if I may, I'll look at Bane's direction and I'll point my lightsaber to him and I'll say, I'm sick of you. And that's it.
So as you slice through each of them, you hear in the whispers, failure, failure, as they dissipate. And as you point to Bane's hologram projection with your saber, there is a look that you have never seen on this face. Bane, even at his most frustrated, has always appeared to you as a fairly well controlled, put together. The worst you've seen is the like sneers and the snarls, but this face curls into a face of sheer anger and hate and monstrous rage as the brows furrow and the teeth are exposed, sharp, somehow still yellowing even under this blue light, and everything just contorts. He almost like hunches, and you hear that whispering grow louder, and it begins to sort of fall in line with itself. Instead of it being overlapping, it's now all sort of in synchronicity, and it's a chant. And this place continues to shake and rubble continues to fall as this happens. And I need everyone to make me we're going to call this either an athletics or a we can say coordination. I think that could work. Athletics or coordination to dodge the rubble that's coming down at you.
Is that for everyone?
That's going to be for everyone, yes.
Okay.
Check something here.
Is there
Let's
difficulty
see.
with that?
Yes, that is going to be a difficulty of 2. Yes.
Okay. No.
Yeah, difficulty of 2. Valden, I will remind you that you are disoriented, so you'll be rolling with a setback die.
Yep. Let's see what happens here.
Who did that boost die go to, X?
Whoever was next.
Next, so either one of
Okay.
us.
So
Yeah.
it'll go on the next Jedi turn.
Yeah.
Well.
Hmm.
Damn.
Hey, I succeeded, but I got some threat.
Hey, we love
Just
to
got
see it.
a threat.
Okay.
I got
I'm gonna go
A
with coordination.
scratch, basically.
Ooh,
You said
okay.
there's how many difficulty? 2.
2.
Success, a threat, and a triumph. How does that work?
All right, Ronan, I'm going to give you an opportunity here.
All right.
So, one of these people who may or may not be your immediate allies did not succeed at this role. I will give you an option to use your triumph to protect them from what's coming, if you'd like. Otherwise, there are plenty of cool things you can use it for you.
Before we get into other things, let me know what it is that I could do. I like to know my options.
Just a big old force push.
So,
no,
go ahead.
I think I actually will use it to, because in Ronan's mind, I am pissed off at Bane. He's pissed off at Bane, and whatever I can do to piss him off even more, I will. So, it's a like, because move is my highest force power.
Mhm.
If I may, it's a like right before whatever it is falls, like it's like right here, you
Yeah.
know. I'll just catch it and just set it to the side.
Love it. Excellent. Great. All right. Valden, why don't you describe for me how you managed to avoid and dodge this stuff?
Valden is just going to kind of scramble and tuck and roll, not being the most physical and not the most coordinated. It's going to look a little rough and gangly as Valden just kind of like flops about a bit and just happens to kind of find a pocket of something to kind of like
I love that.
Clumsily roll into.
So what I'm gonna say is you did generate some threat. I'm gonna spend your threat and say that because you were pretty clumsy on that, the next attack against you will be made with a boost die.
Okay.
And with that, I do believe that takes us to another PC slot. So one of you, our Jedi, can go.
Hey, Cash, have at
My go?
Yeah.
All right. Well, since I was up there doing bodyguard for Bellator, I'm not too far from that holocron, aren't I?
Correct.
I twist out the saber cane and the orange comes up as I approach the holocron. I look to Bane and I say, "It's strange what a couple honeyed words can do to people you believe who are listening to you." And I'll strike against it with the saber cane.
I don't even need you to roll. Just describe for me what it looks like when you shear this thing in two.
Well, I have Sunder as well.
Uh-huh.
So it's not fast. If this was a person, it would be very menacing. The saber cane, he's watching Bane as he brings the cane up and just takes the point and think Kylo Obi-Wan, but with more indifference as he does it. And he just slides the saber cane through and then pulls it out, resheathing it.
So as you raise your weapon, the holocron, the hologram of Bane turns to you, that same look of rage, and it spits out a word, which I think you recognize because it's in Urkatat, where he calls you a traitor. And as you begin to plunge your blade in, the spirits begin to sort of converge on you. And then the light flickers in the holocron and it goes out. And immediately, Bane's projection is gone. And the holocron, as you pull your blade free, cracks down the center. Splinters of metal and glass falling as it does. And then the podium itself cracks. And you hear more grinding and rumbling. Black smoke pours from the holocron and falls, settling at the lowest point in the room surrounding this pedestal as it falls to either side. And as it does, the floor beneath the three of you cracks and fractures and gives way.
Gives way what?
Haha! A plunge!
I haven't made that joke yet. We're on episode 8. I haven't made that joke yet.
We're on 10, I think, now, actually.
You're right. Yeah. I miscounted.
And the three of you begin to fall. Complete darkness complete darkness around you as you do, plummeting down into the depths. And I'm going to ask everyone how they'd like to go about landing. And then we'll describe what happens there. Because this is quite a fall.
Hey, Cash. got no force abilities, so the answer is probably hard.
If I may, I think it's a because well, hello, I'm an agility based fighter, so that's what I'm all about. I think for Ronin, it's a pretty graceful landing. It's like because I imagine using any of the like rocks that are falling with us, sort of almost like stairs, sort of stepping on them and then jumping to another all the way down. Um, and then, if I may, I'll try my best to catch what he catch. If it looks like he's having some having some troubles, go
I
ahead.
think what it looks like. You ever played GTA 5 where a character is skydiving and you just don't pull the chute? I think that's what it looks like as he's coming down. He's like, well, at least I will go out fast. I shouldn't survive this.
Valden, what about you?
I think Valden is going to kind of use the move force power because I've got enough magnitude to get something of my silhouette size to try and slow my fall. Like just kind of force to kind of break my fall at least somewhat.
I love that. Awesome. Great. Okay. So I'm gonna ask for some rolls. Valden, you're gonna roll me a force check.
Yep.
And then Bellator, we're gonna make 2 rolls. Your first one is
Yeah.
To the surprise of no one, I'm sure. Okay, so your first one, we're gonna make. Let's call it an agility coordination, and we're gonna set that difficulty to 3 as you're bounding through rocks. Actually, you know what? I think. No, go ahead. Yes, yeah, I'm happy with
difficulty 3.
Difficulty 3, yeah.
Lovely. He said coordination.
Yeah.
Double check. Nice. Two yellow, 1 green. It's a wonderful time.
Every time that Valden rolls force dice, I have to like not just go.
Why do you have so
time.
much? Why do you have so much? What's your force rating?
4. Valden's got a deep force rating.
God.
Our last session, I just picked up my 4th force die.
Yep.
Gosh, I've got 2. I thought I was doing good. I was like, oh yeah, I got a lot. Yeah,
Especially when you're not a caster. Like 2 is like hell yeah. But watching Valden roll, it's like this is great. I'm sure it's going to be horrible when eventually those dark side ones pop up. But like,
right?
Yeah, I do want to take a moment and appreciate that it's almost perfectly balanced. You're at 4 light, 3 dark on this roll.
I know.
Yeah. So close. So close.
Here's
I'm rolling this, and I'm rolling what else?
So you're gonna roll me for the other one. I'm gonna say it's gonna be an athletics brawn.
You trying to catch me or force catch me?
It is a force catch.
Oh, force catch. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's very different.
It's gonna be like this is gonna hurt us both. Like you have an answer to this, but
yeah, roll me your.
I do have a pretty good athletics, and I do have enhance. So I guess I could.
It's up to you.
I guess I could do it. I think
just like snatch way out of the air as you are like coming down.
I think that's more funny if you're all right with this. After
100%.
bridal carry.
Then yeah, go for it.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna. So I have to roll a force check for the enhanced. Do I?
Let me double check.
So when making athletics checks, force user may roll an enhanced power check as part of the pool.
Yeah.
Spin
So yes,
light
you'll
or dark
roll.
to gain successes or advantage. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll have to roll the force powers as you make the check. I believe is how that
Lovely.
works.
Yep.
All right.
So you
So
just add
that's
the dice, and we're gonna make that a difficulty
green.
of 3 again, because it's still hard.
I got 1 yellow, 1 green for this. 2 force die.
You can do it.
This is gonna be fun.
Oh.
What are we looking at?
3 dark side. I guess that's not bad for you. So
I can use the force to give myself successes. So I'll take the dark side and use all 3 of those for successes.
Okay. So, and Holden, I assume you are using the light side?
Yes.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
There's so much of it here. If you want to go the other way, it's probably going to be very easy.
Waycash is using physics.
I know you got to check, but you know.
I got to check. Yeah. I think there is a moment, Valden, as you are slowing yourself, and Bellator, as you are catching way, where the two of you can feel yourselves almost pushing against each other. Just as you pass each other with the force, one of you asking it to help guide them down, the other pulling it into you and strengthening you. And the two of you manage to land fairly comfortably, easily. Valden, you stumble just a bit as the last bit of that disorientation wears off on you. You feel whole again. And Bellator, you land bridal style carrying way. And as the group of you land here, you have a moment where all of you can feel this heavy, dark oppressiveness pushing down on you. Very similar to when you were on Duxon. Just that thickness, almost as though you are walking in water. The dark side, rife and powerful here. You can still hear echoed whispers of chanting, but they're far off now, no longer filling your ears and consuming your minds. Around you is a chamber, bare and empty, with a single decorated hall ahead of you. In it, you can see light, though you cannot see where it stems from, as it is beyond that hall. And across the walls are hung more tapestries, but these are immaculate. They are perfect. And they hang, and all of you can feel something from beyond that hall, something in the next room, calling to you, asking for you, no, demanding you to move forward. And I think this is where we're going to end today's session. Thank you so much for being here, my amazing Jedi and Chaos child. Chaos person. Thank you to our wonderful chat for hanging out. Thank you to everyone involved in this. Hopefully everyone's had a good time with this. I know I have, despite this not going in any way like I expected today's episode to go. But we love it. So yeah. I'm going to take a moment. We're going to go around. Everyone's going to get a chance to tell everyone where you can be found, what you're up to, who you are, all the cool stuff. Stefan, why don't we start with you?
Hey, yep, I am Stefan. You can find me on all the socials at Umbral Knight X, Knight with a K. I'm still one of the last lingering people still on the platform formerly known as Twitter, but I'm there less and less as people make the shift over to other platforms. So you can also find me on Blue Sky and Threads as well. But you'll probably still be able to find me on X because I'm hard-headed and stubborn and an educator. So I try and educate the masses even when sometimes they don't want to listen. But here I am. So yeah, you can find me on the socials doing all kinds of fun stuff, and we're going to be putting together some stuff. We're in talks right now for Black History Month, so keep your eyes peeled. Looking for some fun stuff coming up for Black History Month. I'll be in something during that time frame. So
Yeah. Definitely keep an eye on that. Check it out. It's going to be great stuff. Everything Stefan does is amazing and is a great place for you to be able to go to, keep yourself informed on things. Zach.
Hey everybody, I'm K Kenny Plays, and yeah, there it is. I just wanted to hit live with that. Hey everybody,
Beautiful.
I'm Zach.
Beautiful.
You can find me everywhere at Scheduled for Launch. I'm mostly on Blue Sky right now. I'm the person who's been composing the music for you as of late, and hopefully we'll get some of that more together soon. Like I said, find me on the socials at Scheduled for Launch. Check out my old podcast of the same name where you can find some really cool indie games. I think that's everything for right now, though. I don't have a lot going on. So, Alien got pushed back at least a little bit because I have one hell of a cough and I was having massive tech issues on Thursday. So, unfortunately, that did not happen. Hopefully, it'll happen this coming Thursday on my Twitch channel at Astraceratops. And we're doing From Whom the Bell Tolls by Chris Herdstrom, which is a fan-made game. It's super dope. Fan-made module using the Alien RPG system. It's really cool. Free. Go support that. Yeah, that's everything from me, though. I'm looking forward to seeing where these cross tables go.
X.
Hello, everybody. That's me. You can find me at Extell the King. I have been Darth Bellator for this session and for more sessions to come, it looks like. So you can catch me here every other Saturday. Today's Saturday, right? Yeah, every other Saturday for this. And let's see. You can catch me on Start Playing Games, where I got 2 games available to join. There's 2 slots left in the vampire game, and all the slots are available in the werewolf game. So go check it out. You can catch me again at Extell the King on all the socials. I'm on Blue Sky, Threads. That's really what I'm mostly putting my attention to at the moment. Let's see, I'm trying to think of other things. You can catch me on All Our Faults, the podcast, the Monster Hodge podcast on TTN, Tabletop's Tail Spinners Network. I think that's the first time I got it, and if I didn't, but where I play Solomon, a werewolf skin guy, and he's feral. It's a wonderful time. Trying to think of a lot of. I think that's it for. There's a lot of stuff that I can't talk about, so I try to go through my brain and figure it out. But that's all I'm gonna have for you now because I can't sort through the rest of them. So check me out. Join my games. Come hang out with me on Threads or Blue Sky, and we'll have a great time. But yeah, thanks for coming.
Hey, y'all. It's Drake Lionheart. Most people call me Lion. I am the studio director and creative director for Tales from the Table Studios. I snuck it in there. I use they, he pronouns, and I am lucky enough to be your tale singer for this amazing game. If you've enjoyed this episode, if you enjoy these amazing people, if you want to support them, if you want to come say hi, if you want to hang out, we have a community where you can do just that. You can jump over to our Discord. That second link should be the right one. Ignore the first one. But you can jump over to our Discord, hang out, say hi, introduce yourself, talk to all these amazing people, talk about the show, and meet a bunch of cool, creative, wonderful human beings. It's also a great way to keep up with their projects because we have a channel on there specifically for all of our cast, all of the cool projects they're in, and where you can find them so you can best support them. It's also the best way to get first look at what we've got coming next. We're going a little slow here at the end of the year as we wind up for a whole bunch of stuff going into the new year that you're not going to want to miss. And if you want to have first chance sneak peeks, casting, or anything else, the best way to do that is by hanging out in our Discord. Pop in, say hi, let us know what you're up to. We always want to know. I think that's everything I have to go over right now because this is where you'll see me. You'll see me here, and that's pretty much it for the time being. And that's okay because we love that. We love being here. So we'll be back next week as we see the other half of this wonderful disaster as it is occurring.
It's
Because
going to be so different.
oh yes,
It's going to be like
like night
aggressive.
and day. Oh yeah, it's going to be fantastic, and I'm so excited. Yeah, we'll be back next week because while all of this is happening, we've still got another wonderful not Sith person and two fantastic Jedi Padawans who are going to have to figure out some stuff for themselves. And it's going to be a great time. So,
Indeed.
What?
we'll see you next week. Same time, same channel, same all the stuff. And until then, just remember, take care of yourself, love yourself, eat enough food, drink enough water, do the things you have to do, and always remember to tell your tales. Love you so much, and we'll see you soon.